So, hello, grade 8 students. I'm going to start discussing the solution of the book exercises. And the first question, copy and complete. The energy yielded in combustion is what? Uh, as long as we're talking about combustion, يعني combustion of the fuel, حرق الفيول, then we're talking about chemical reaction taking place. That's why this is considered to be chemical energy لأنه this chemical energy is conserved within the bonds of the atoms before they undergo a chemical reaction and transform into other materials. So the energy yielded in combustion is chemical energy. It is transformed by the engine of the car into electric energy. بصير في عنا حرق للفيول وهيدي الطاقة بياخدها بتحولها لطاقة كهرباء للinternal system of the car. The energy supplied by the sunlight is mainly it is the radiant energy, though it is transformed by the radiometer into what energy? Into mechanical energy. The radiometer is discussed here in your textbook. This is the radiometer. It receives radiant energy, light energy, and when these two plates receive the light energy, they start to rotate. Okay? So, concerning the question here, so this radiant energy, the energy supplied by sunlight is radiant energy. بتاعت الsunlight بتعطينا radiant بتعطينا light energy. It is transformed by the radiometer into mechanical energy لأنه the radiometer starts to rotate. And rotation means motion, and motion is considered to be mechanical. Part C, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. يعني we cannot create energy from nothing and we cannot destroy it completely. It is always being transformed from one form into another. So energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form into another. An energy converter transforms energy from one form into another. Any example that we mentioned can a radiometer or the engine or the dry cell, all are considered to be converters of energy because they transform one form of energy into another. So the solution is already given to you. Now match each energy converter with the energy it receives. Just let me here show you the solution that we have. Okay. So match each energy converter with the energy it receives. These are the energy converters: the fan, the dry cell, the alternator, the photocell, the windmill. And the energy received yield wind energy, mechanical energy, radiant energy, electric energy, and chemical energy. What does the fan receive in order to work? It receives, we plug it in the wall outlet, so it receives electric energy. The fan receives electric energy. What about the dry cell? The dry cell contains certain chemicals that undergo a certain reaction with each other in order to produce electric energy. بقلبها أسيد the dry cell. That's why we consider it to receive chemical energy and convert it into electric energy. What about the alternator? The alternator that rotates, alternator rotates in order to produce electric energy. So the energy received here mechanical energy since it rotates. يعني في motion. Photocell is also discussed here in your book. This is the photocell. Backwards. It receives radiant energy and it transforms it into electric energy. This is the photocell here اللي هي مثل السولار بانل الطاقة الشمسية اللي بنحكي عنها بتاخد light energy وبتحولها ل electric energy. So this is it. It receives light or radiant energy الwindmill that rotates also to produce electric energy. So if we can do a quick research to show you the windmill. This is a picture of the windmill. I guess you all know it. These are windmills. They receive wind energy as the wind blows. They start to rotate in order to produce electric energy. So what is the energy received by the windmill? It is the wind energy in order to rotate and then produce electric energy. Now for exercise 3. When a car goes up a slope, you have to write it true or false. As the car moves up, it has kinetic energy, true or false? Yes, as long as we are talking about moving up motion, يعني of course there is kinetic energy. We already know that and discussed it in the class. It loses potential energy. Of course, here the car is not an elastic body, so we know that the potential energy is divided into potential energy in general is divided into two types. The gravitational potential energy, you can refer to your copybooks, we explained them before. Present the gravitational potential energy and the elastic potential energy. The elastic potential energy is related to elastic bodies that can be elongated or compressed and so on. However, the gravitational potential energy is related to what? To height, with respect to a certain frame of reference. So, in this case, when the car is moving upwards along a slope, when we talk about a slope, يعني عنا an inclined plane, a car moving upwards along it. Okay, this car is moving upwards along this inclined plane. So as it moves, its height is, if we take this horizontal line to be the reference, this is the reference, then the height of the car as it moves upwards is increasing. See, it was initially here, then it moved upwards, صار هيدا الهايت. بعدين moving still upwards, the height increases. And we know that the formula for gravitational potential energy is mass times gravity times height. So it's directly proportional to the height. Then as the height increases, the GPE is going to what? To increase. GPE increases. So now what is the question in the textbook? The question is, does this car going upward along the slope, does it lose potential energy? What do you think? I think no, it doesn't lose. It gains potential energy لأنه الهايت increases. As the height increases, the gravitational potential energy increases. So this is false. It's not true. Part C, the chemical energy of the fuel is changed finally into heat energy only. يعني الحريق الفيول حريق البنزين اللي عم بيصير عنا عم يتحول بس لهيت انرجي؟ اكيد لا، ماشي بيحمل موتور ما قلنا لا، بس ما نحن ليه عم نستعمل البنزين؟ In order to convert the chemical energy into electric then into mechanical energy to allow the car to move. يعني نحن بنشغل electrically من جوا السيستم of the car، وهيدي الالكتريك سيستم بتخلي الكار بتخلي الويلز شو يعملوا to rotate. And thus when we talk about rotation عم نحكي عن motion، عم نحكي عن mechanical energy. So no, the chemical energy of the fuel is not changed only to heat energy, it is changed to heat, to electric and mechanical energy. So in the solution here, what did we say? False, it changes into electric, mechanical and heat, not only heat energy. What about part D? The engine gives mechanical energy. The engine gives finally mechanical energy. Yes, it receives chemical energy and it gives finally, and the objective is to allow the car to move. That's why we can consider it to forming or transforming chemical energy into mechanical energy. Now question 4. Here in question 4 عم بيقولوا لنا the electric circuit of figure 8 consists of a dry cell, an incandescent lamp and a switch. The circuit is closed. These are the dry cells. These are connecting wires. هون عنا a closed switch and this is the lamp. They represented figure 8a and figure 8b by using symbols. يعني this is a diagram. This is a real circuit and figure 8b represents a diagram of the above circuit. عم بيقولوا لنا what are the energy converters in the circuit. I mentioned here in exercise 2 that some examples of energy converters are the fan, the dry cell, the alternator. Any instrument, any object that receives a form of energy and gives another form of energy can be considered to be a converter. بتحول energy. So in this example, what are the converters in the circuit? It is the dry cell here represented and the incandescent lamp. Why? لأنه the dry cell receives chemical energy, produces electric energy and heat energy. بتحمل بطارية يعني عم تعطي heat energy. Similarly, the lamp receives the electric energy, produces light energy and loses some heat energy كمان بتحمى. فإذا receiving a form of energy and producing other forms of energy. That's why the dry cell and the lamp are considered to be converters of energy. What energy transformation takes place in the cell? I've just mentioned it. I said that in the dry cell, in the battery, it receives chemical energy لأنه there is a chemical reaction taking place inside it due to the presence of chemicals and acids, and it produces electric energy. As you can see here on the arrow, I wrote the converter, which is the battery. What forms of energy would appear in the surrounding of the lamp? يعني in other words, what does the lamp produce? What form of energy does the lamp produces? It produces heat energy and radiant energy. يعني the main objective or the main usage of the lamp is to produce radiant energy. However, at the same time, it loses some of its electric energy into heat energy. بتحمى. Answer the same questions if the lamp is replaced by a small electric motor. يعني instead of a lamp, we put here a motor connected to the dry cell. What is the energy received and what is the energy formed? In this case, the motor receives electric energy and produces mechanical and heat energy لأنه it starts to rotate and rotation is motion, so it produces mechanical energy. بنفس الوقت كمان بيحمس وبيعطي heat energy. Now for exercise 5. Figure 9 shows different forms of energy. عنا mechanical energy into electric energy into radiant energy, chemical energy into radiant, chemical into mechanical, radiant into mechanical, chemical into electric. So the question here is to specify a convenient converter for which transformation indicated by an arrow for each transformation. يعني on the arrow, as I did in the previous part here when I discussed the transformation of energy in dry cell, I wrote the previous or the received form of energy arrow, and above the arrow I wrote the name of the converter. Then after it we write the converted or to the new form of energy. So as we can see here, the alternator receives mechanical energy and produces electric. It rotates in order to produce electric energy. A lamp receives electric and gives radiant energy. بتضوي. الفاير receives chemical energy لأنه أنا هون بكون عم بعمل combustion، عم بعمل حريق للwood. So this is chemical reaction, then this is chemical energy. عم يتغيروا البونز بين الاتومز. مش ما يعني it's not necessary that we go into details because it's not for your level, but it's enough to know that as long as combustion or chemical reaction takes place, then there is a chemical energy received, and it produces radiant energy. When we fire certain pieces of wood, we get light energy or radiant energy. Radiant energy into mechanical radiometer that I showed you in your textbook. When it receives light energy, it starts to rotate. So it converts the light energy into mechanical energy. The dry cell, chemical energy into electric energy لأنه it contains acids and chemical reaction takes place inside it, and it gives electric energy, it gives electricity. And finally we have chemical energy into mechanical energy. I mentioned here metabolism of the cell. I don't know if you discussed it in the biology class, but let me just simplify things. When we eat, we take in nutrients, or the nutrients are absorbed by our cells. So the cells here are actually the real converters, because when they receive these nutrients, they give us energy in order to be able to move our muscles. That's why we consider that the cell undergoing metabolism, which is a process that the cell undergoes making use of the nutrient and the oxygen in order to produce energy. So we consider that the cell to be a converter of chemical energy لأنه في chemical reaction عم يتفاعلوا هول النيوترينتس مع الأكسجين لحتى يعطوني energy لأتحرك.